Hey everybody, welcome to Woodworking Wisdom. My name's Colin Way, and this week has been a really exciting week. I've been joined for the whole week, along with Ben and Jason, with Gabriel Clark.
Hi everybody.
You may recognise Gabriel because Gabriel's got his very own Instagram site. So he's got, if you don't know, the link is below the description here. So go and have a look at his Instagram site. Have a look at the wonderful work he does. Am I right in saying mainly bowls at the moment?
It's mainly bowls at the moment, but we've got a few other things coming in.
One of the things one of the reasons that Gabriel's here this week is we've been working on a few videos and projects, haven't we? Myself and Ben have been making with you some skateboards, mini skateboards.
Made mini skateboards.
Cat racks.
Cat racks.
Cat racks.
There we
what
go.
else?
And we made a wooden phone speaker, didn't we?
For people to be able to do projects in holidays, weekends, that sort of stuff. So they're going to be coming out, probably not on a bit of boredom, but on a YouTube soon, so keep an eye out for those. Today though, Gabriel wants to learn how to make, well, not just goblets, because you're fairly good at making goblets anyway, but spirals on goblets. Now I know that we've done that before for you guys from Woodworking, but because the teaching demonstration, the first bowl demonstration that we've done a couple of weeks ago with Steph was so well received, I thought, well, it's a perfect opportunity to be able to do this live
we can do another one.
Camera. And you were quite keen, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I'm keen for this.
So being live in front of the camera is not the easiest thing for a lot of people. Gabriel seems to find it second nature. So it's just straight in there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll try my best.
And what we haven't worked with yet is trying to condense this down to an hour.
Yeah, well, we'll try our best on that front as well, won't we?
I trust Gabriel because I've seen him turning, and we've been practicing all week anyway. So there's a few things that I just say, can you just do that? For instance, roughing down and maybe doing some hollowing and all those sorts of things. Yeah. So it's not the fact that I haven't seen Gabriel turn before. We have. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Okay. Are we all right, Ben? Have we got any questions to start with? And we got Ben on the questions, by the way, everybody. You know how it works.
There we go.
Feed in your questions.
No questions yet. There's lots of people checking in saying hi, but yeah.
We're all good. But unfortunately, Ben is silenced today. We're sharing our mics, or we got a mic each, so that means Ben doesn't have one. So we're going to skip the song at the beginning of this demonstration, and we'll save that for next week when he is going live again, actually. So he'll do a rendition of something. Shall we explain what we're going to do?
I think we should.
Okay. Can we go above? So this is a goblet I made a long time ago, but with 3 or 4 of Gabriel's lives ago.
Yeah.
I turned this one in 98, 99, something like that. Now, this is one of my favorite ones. This lasted a long time. It's a bit of lignum vitae. I say it's lasted a long time. We've got a little bit of a crack up here. But apart from that, this is a sort of ribbon twist that we're going to try and get today. A little bit thicker. And the only reason we're going to go a little bit thicker is because we're using wet wood. We're using wet wood because we don't want to mess around with dust masks or anything like that. We want to both be heard, and it's a demonstration and so on.
Yeah, there we go.
So Gabriel's going to be wearing a face visor. I've got my goggles on, but we don't want to be fussing around with dust in the air, even though we'll have the extraction running. So a little bit thicker because it's wet and it's a little bit fluffy and furry, but this is what we're going to get to. The whole reason for Gabriel doing this demonstration is so we can learn how to spiral on a stem of something. Show them the one that you've done this morning. Done an egg cup this morning, didn't we?
Yeah, so we did a little egg cup this morning. We didn't quite finish it. There we go. It's about there. That's it. But we got a bit of a spiral going. We didn't quite manage to finish because Colin was hungry. But we didn't quite finish the base. But we got the same sort of spiral business going on. So we got a rough idea on how to do it, don't we?
Yeah, right. Well, let's start then. If you're happy, we're not going to turn any machine on yet. So before you put your visor on, just center that one up. Explain to everybody what the centers are going to be as well. We'll get it in between centers, and then we'll look at roughing down.
All right. So you all know how to center up, I'm guessing, maybe, or not?
That's it.
Come on, could you pass me a Bradle?
Okay.
Thank you. I'll make you wait. Lovely. Oh. And there. There we go. So we've got very grippy centre here. I'll let you do the name.
ProDrive.
There we go.
ProDrive's got a little spring centre here, so as you push from the tailstock, that centre goes in, and then it sort of activates these grippers on the outside.
Okay. Thank you. About there. Half time for good luck.
Well done. Everything's tight now. Again, because we're not going to start the lathe yet, you can set up your tool rest.
Which size are we going to go?
What do you reckon?
Big one?
Yeah, big one.
Okay.
And again, if you explain to everybody the height of the tool rest that you're using.
All right, so this one's quite a beefy one, since we're going to just be roughing it down and we don't want to move it too much. So I'm going to put it just below the centre, since roughing gouges are quite beefy. All right, so it's knocking there, so a bit further back. Like that.
Checking every corner, well done.
Yeah. Well,
one thing you won't pick up, well, you might pick up from that view, you'll probably see beneath or just beneath the lathe here, we've got a little platform. That's just to get Gabriel up to size or up to lathe size. So roughly elbow height to center is what we're working with. And it just gives him a comfortable position to work at. So when you see me stepping down and stepping up, that's the real height.
Make me feel short, aren't you?
All right, but you're not short to the lathe anyway, so you're at the right height to be working with.
Yeah, so rough and gouge?
Visor and
first.
a rough and gouge, yeah. And you know what you're doing?
Vaguely.
You're going to rough down the center, rough down to near center, wasn't it? So rough down to near round.
I think Ben's got a question.
Go for it.
So a question from Jim B. He's just inquiring, how old is Gabriel? It's really good to see a youngster at the lathe.
That's a good question. How old am I now? 13. In fact, we celebrated my birthday here, didn't we?
On Monday, wasn't it? Yeah. So
there we go. So
13-year-old now. Nice one, right.
Great. So
yeah.
Crown?
Yeah. It's funny that we were just talking heights of lathe and Jim B got on the questions. Jim's about 10 foot high. He's massive. Sorry, Jim. Okay, so lathe speed to 0 and turn the lathe on. We've done that already. That's it, and then trickle out. So we were discussing speeds this morning, and we used about 500 to start with, and that's we'll go up a bit quicker. And we've done a little experiment, didn't we? And we started roughing down at 500. Then we turned the lathe up, wouldn't it? What was it? Yeah, go for it.
Right,
do
so
500.
There we go. That's about 500 to 600. So it skips a lot at 500, which means it's not so nice to rough down. But if you bump it up to around 1500, 1600?
Yeah. I would get probably 14 for this lump just to start with.
There we go. So that's 1400. It's a lot smoother to rough down. So I'll just knock that out quickly. Yeah,
you do that. I'll explain. So by going quicker, there's less pressure on the chisel, on you, on the centers. And so there's less likelihood to strip centers and things like that. You have got to match that up with what's too fast. So bigger diameter pieces, for instance, you might not want to go 1600. You might want to knock them down slowly because they're bigger in diameter. But for this piece, it works. And before we get the questions, it's cherry.
Well, first of all, I just want to see that this is the green wood. I don't know if you can see that, but there is water and sap residue on the roughing gouge. Sorry.
Cherry's one of those timbers that has a lot of tannic acid in it as well. So watch it with the lathe bed. Once you've finished wet turning, give it a wipe down, put some oil on it. Same with your tools. And if you're in a job that involves a lot of hand shaking, probably a bit of barrier cream might be a good idea as well, because otherwise your hands will be purple. And until that wears away, they won't come off, not even with washing your hands. Right, just to remember now, don't use your fingers. Use the asset that, or turn the lathe off and have a look.
Yeah.
All right. I'd stop and have a look.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I reckon you're almost there. Oh, just a couple of little flats. This is really quite wet, isn't it?
It is quite.
Yeah, that's why it's turning so well. Another couple of cuts.
I think let's make a guess. 3, 4.
Go on then. 3. Do 3. We compromised.
It's going to be 3.
Go on then. Don't go too far. Lovely.
It was 3.
That'll be fine. So now if you adjust the tool rest, so we're going to close the gap that we've now made in the tool rest. There's a bit too much of a gap there. So it's closing the gap, and you're going to then measure your chuck jaws.
Yeah, right. Where is it? Here.
Right. So I'll let you just carry on, because you know what you're doing. I'll explain as you're doing it.
Do I? That's a good question.
So we're using H jaws, and they're a medium-sized gripper.
Okay, so we're going to measure the inside diameter, are we?
Yeah, internal, and you're going to do a little foot there.
Don't know where the best spot is to put it.
Shall I hold the chuck for
Yeah,
you?
you can hold that. Yeah.
There we go.
Internal. About there, right?
Yeah, really good. Grippers are designed, they got teeth. They're designed to bite into the timber. So if it's a little bit proud, a little bit big, that's absolutely fine in this case.
Right, now, next step. We're going to... Okay.
Beading and parting tool. So we're going to cut that little foot. Do you want to show everybody what you're aiming for? That one over there.
All right, so we're just going to do this bit here. You want to shrink it down to the right size. Oh, Ben's question.
Okay, so we've got a question here from Robin. He says he's really enjoying watching these demos. Is there any situation where you wouldn't use the center of the blank to set the tool rest?
Center.
Or for the gouge? He says, enjoying watching you. Is there any situation where you don't use the center of the blank for the tool rest?
Well, I would guess so. It all depends on the tool that you're using. They all require slightly different approaches. So, for instance, a roughing gouge just below. So because of the thickness of the roughing gouge, so when you actually attack the timber or you make contact with the timber, you are cutting on center. A skew chisel, for instance, you need to go above center. You don't want to be cutting center because that places too much timber in front of the long point, the toe, the bit that catches. So you need to go above to throw the toe out the way. Scrapers on spindle turning that you want, again, to go with your handle high so you get that scraping action of the tool. So they are slightly different. However, when you get to center point, if you're turning a bowl, for instance, you need to have the tool rest of a height that whatever tool you're using contacts the center point. Okay, so that was the reason, really. It depends on the tool you're using and the action that you're trying to create, really. All right, there we are.
Right, so as I was explaining, so we're just going to cut this, cut it down to this size so the jaws can grip on it properly.
Yep. So remember, we're going to do 2 cuts. Just go straight in, do 1 cut, size that first.
Yeah.
Happy with that size, do the second cut.
Let's see, how far do we need to go? Not too bad, actually.
Not too bad. What's that, 4 or 5 mil?
4 or 5.
Just a wee bit more.
See, that's about good.
And a bit more.
About there. Alright, then we're going to do second cut.
That's it. Do you want me to check?
Go on.
See where we are. Spot on.
Okay, now
Parting tool.
parting tool. So now we're just going to clean up the other face. Nice and flat.
Lovely.
And now we can put the jaws on.
What we've done, the foot that we've got here is, it's deep, but it's not so deep that this bit bottoms out on the bottom of the chuck. We want this to be the bearing surface because it's wider in diameter. So we're up here, okay? So wider in diameter, strongest grip that we can get.
There we go.
All right, I'll let you dismantle. We'll keep the tailstock on for a minute because we're going to drill, aren't we, as well?
Yeah.
Lovely. Beautiful colour in that timber.
Pretty good, isn't it?
I'll remove the centre while you're doing that one.
And just put it in.
That's it. And once you've done that, turn your lathe speed back down to 0. You're going to do your one for luck?
You're right, I am.
Just in case.
Right, just in case.
And then always, before we turn the lathe on, just give it a spin by hand. Good. That's fine. Just wanted to make sure that we were good before we start.
And then good old whack in.
I'll just clean that surface and hollow out.
Yeah.
And then you can do the rest. All right. Let's, I'll go with a slightly shorter tool rest. Just because. We'll keep the tailstock there just for the minute. Because we're going to use a drill bit to get our depth. Stop. Lathe speed to 0. Turn the lathe on. Freshly sharpened 6mm bowl gouge, 1/4 inch bowl gouge. Just tidying that surface really. And then we're going to go with our drill bit. We've decided, so normally for goblets I'll go 40mm, for 8 cups 30. But this is going to be a goblet, so 40mm. What if I measured that to? I think that's 30mm on the from this morning, Gabriel. Oh, so I need to go a little bit past there. Now 40mm doesn't seem a lot until you start actually hollowing. There's about 1,000 revs I've got there. Hand always on the drill chuck. It's enough to stop any friction from making it slip. It's wet timber, so I want to make sure the shavings are cleared constantly. Otherwise, they expand into that hole and things start to get hot. You'll get hot and black and sometimes red embers coming out. So make sure you've got a nice, clear drill bit. We're going to go past our bit of tape. There we are, that's enough. Get rid of those shavings. And then I can take out the drill and get rid of our tailstock. So that comes off, that can come out the way, or that can twist and go to one side.
I think Ben's got a little question.
Got another question there, Ben?
Yeah, I've got a question here about CBN wheels from Fuller.
All right.
He's asking, let me ask if, is it lapidary?
Yeah.
CBN wheels are...
I don't know. Go on, ask the question.
Are different from those advertised in Woodworking.
Yeah. So I don't know how to say it either, Ben. So the question was, are lapidary, so gem polishing wheels, that sort of thing, are they the same as CBN ones sold for woodworking? I don't know is the answer. Email that question in. I'll find out for you. I'm not quite sure. Right, lathe speed to 0.
I'm going to let you do the inside.
Turn the lathe on. Okay, mind your hands then. Mind your hands. That's it. For speed.
I'm going to say 1200.
Same as before.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as before. So 12 to 14. And I'm going to rub the bevel firstly. So bevel rubbing. And then around with the handle, do our first cut. A little OG shape on this one, the same as that lignum goblet. OGs are really nice because you start off flat with the bevel rubbing.
Yeah.
I'm going to try my best not to get in front of the camera here, but I'm going to bring the handle right the way around now. Rub the bevel up. We're just pushing at the length of the tool. So my left hand is there as support. It's the right hand that pushes up the length of the tool. And by doing that, you keep the bevel rubbing nicely. And you get a really nice finish on the inside. We are. We're down to the bottom of that drill hole now. Center. So that's that. One thing you very rarely see me doing is using a scraper, but if you can't get your bevel rubbing, if it's a really fine bottom, then a scraper, just tickle that last little bit on the bottom there. Right, we'll stop and have a look. There we are. Will that pass there, sir?
How's that looking? Yeah, that looks pretty good to me.
Is that all right? Excellent.
Yeah.
Back to you. Do you want that tourist okay?
Yeah.
It's in there, isn't it? If I can just grab the tailstock again.
Of course.
Let me to just grab that a minute. We're gonna use that just to support because we can. And yeah, you check your depth. You check your depth.
What's your guess? Is it around 50 mil?
50, we've gone over a little bit.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
There we are. So you're going to mark that. So we need to know where we can't cut. That's the most important thing.
Then we're going to go in about 10 mil.
Give yourself a 10 mil because we can always cut back.
And then another 10 mil.
Yeah, another 10 mil. So where's the inside? Is that the inside?
There we go.
That's it. So there's your 10. So scribe a line there. with just by hand with a tool. That's it, pencil on the tool. You got it. That's it. There we are. And we'll do, yeah, you got that. That's your waste removal. So down to, what did we say earlier? 25 to 30 mil, didn't we? So inch to inch and a quarter. Got another question before we carry on, though. Yes, Ben.
So I've got a question here from Edward. He's asking, when would you advise shellac sanding sealer rather than cellulose?
When would I advise it? I wouldn't, if I'm honest. The only time I used to use shellac a lot until cellulose came out. And cellulose is great for me personally because it dries really, really quickly. If you've got a very soft and punky timber, then putting it on neat can harden the timber up. But it's the drying time more than anything. Now, shellac is the same that French polish is made out of. And it'll take a little bit longer to dry. And it's a little bit stickier, so you got to be careful with shaving. Shellac, you don't have that issue with. So my preference is it's a choice thing, it's a preference thing. There's cellulose as opposed to shellac.
And then Jim's asking, what finish will you be putting on the goblet? So
if this was a dry piece, Jim, because of the spiral, I'd probably lacquer it. This is a practice piece for us. We would need to let this dry before we fully sanded it. Plus, we're not sanding today, are we?
And we don't have time.
We don't have time. We're not wearing dust masks or anything. We want to keep the dust down to a minimum. It's wet for that reason. So really, at this stage, no finish would work apart from oil. All right. And we could put an oil on, of course, to replace some of the moisture, but we're not going to do anything. But my preference is lacquer. Little ball of shavings, a little ball of tissue just on the inside. There we go. Just a little tweak. Now we're going to take that away in a minute. I just want to put it there just to help us out initially.
Yeah, just a bit of help.
Yeah, a little bit of help. So 25 to 30 mil, please.
Okay.
Of remaining timber in the middle. Yeah, perfect. Using a little 6 mil feeding and parting tool here.
Leave it about that?
That'll do. Yeah, perfect. Now, your favourite cut next. Remember the bowl gouge, clearing out this.
Thank you.
So the next job, we're just going to clear out some of this timber here. Okay, this is going to give us lots of room to be able to shape that top of the goblet. Hang on a sec. Just pass me a pencil a minute on the table.
You're going to make a few marks?
I'm going to make you some marks. First cut starts there, then there, and then there.
Okay.
Right. That's it. Where's your flute facing?
The face 2 o'clock?
That's it, letting everybody know. So flute facing 2 o'clock. If you didn't hear what the question was, everybody, on that last answer is what finish would we put on this one? All right?
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Bit too deep?
No, you're good. I wouldn't go any further down this way. Just take a little bit more off of here. So now wait, that's it. Lifting the handle. That's it. You got it. That'll do. Don't do any more. That's good. Okay, next thing. Let me grab this chisel just for 5 seconds. Come on over the other side. Whilst we've got that tool rest at that height, I'm just going to do a skew cut along that surface. Just to do that. Right, let's take a bit of bulk away, then you can do the final shaping.
Okay.
So the start of that curve is, because it's a convex on the inside, that leads to a concave on the outside. Okay, I'm going to stop that just for a minute. I'm going to move the tailstock out of the way on your fingers. Get rid of that. And just pinch for thickness. So what I'm going to do for you, we're going to get to this to its final thickness, and then you can take the rest of this way to get that final OG shape, all right? That's fine. Now we're going to follow that curve down, and this is our waist area here. Remember, we're going to then come around with a convex curve at this point.
All right. So,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
There we are. And just 2 seconds. What I'll do is put that bit of tissue back with the tailstock to give you a little bit more support. So back in there. You know, we got the tailstock there. We may as well use it when we can. Happy?
Well, we'll see how well this goes.
Yeah, it go brilliantly. If there's anything like this morning, it will go fantastic. Around here. So we want to now use the bevel and that sliding action. And again. So remember, it's your right hand, the hand that's on the handle that's in control here. Push up the length of the tool, don't pull with your left. Push, push, push. So as you're progressing down through that goblet, your left hand is your brake. Stops it from sliding off suddenly, coming off the end of here. Your right hand is pushing up the length of the tool, allowing the bevel to slide along the surface. All right? Do one more from here with the bevel rubbing at start. Push forward with the right hand. Now come around gently. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Wonderful. Do that same thing again from that point there. Around with the handle, around, around, around. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And we're going to stop right there. All right. Is that a pleasing shape or what?
I think.
Isn't that nice?
Well, I'll have a look at it stopped.
And you got some lovely timber. The colour of that timber is wonderful.
I think that's pretty good.
All right. Let me clear the waste away for you.
And then I'll do a bit more shaping.
I want you to get the shaping done, but I also want you to get the spiraling done. That's the biggie for today. So we are all right, Ben. It's a little bit out, is it? Okay. Well, in a minute, all we're going to be doing is spiraling. So we're doing just a little bit at a time. This has to be a fairly straight and consistent stem to allow for your spiraling. I reckon that's about enough. All right, so your spiral. A lot smaller than we done this morning. So we'll go down with a slightly smaller file. Now, if anybody wants to know a lot more about spiraling, Stuart Mortimer. You've got two of my idols in one breath there. Sorry, Stuart Mortimer, the king of spiraling. You can catch one of his demonstrations, or even better, buy his book. So, Spiraling, Stuart Mortimer. Then there'll be a huge amount of projects in there, and also a lot of techniques. This is just one technique or one type of spiral, but in that book you'll find loads and loads of different types. Right, I'm almost there, almost ready for you again, Gabriel.
Okay.
So let's just do a little sign off of the base, and then just to stop that camera, we're going to stop the lathe. Now, all of the rest is done by files. Now, as I explained, we've had a practice this morning. The one we done this morning was what we refer to as a single start. We want 2 starts to this spiral. So that's basically a spiral going around each other, 2 going around each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So where we start one, we start exactly opposite on the other, but it's an easy thing to do. So to start with, if we do that first one, we're going to go with that size, I reckon. No, that's too big. Let's go with that one. All right. So these are just little Japanese files. So little rasp files. We want it fairly coarse to begin with. This is wet timber. It's going to clog the file up fairly quickly. So we've got one of our declogging brushes here, which we can just take away the bits from the file. Okay, so let me just get a line for you. So we want about a 45 on this one. It's a double start. There we are. That's enough. So follow that line. Can you see the angle that I've got here?
I think I can.
Yeah, follow that all the way down through. Remember how we said about moving that chuck when that clogs up? All right, just every now and again, give them a declog. Okay.
Okay.
Over to you. Remember about the speed as well.
We're gonna
nice and slow.
Same one then?
Yeah, follow that all the way down now. So nice and slow. It's good. That's probably deep enough for the minute. If you create that all the way down through. Just to explain here, this is Gabriel's second spiral. Okay, he hasn't been doing a huge amount. We've done one this morning and that's it.
Just to make up for me being bad? You giving excuses?
No, I'm showing everybody how easy, either how easy this is or how good you are.
Yeah. Why not both?
Or what a wonderful teacher you have.
Ah, that's a lie though.
Nice, slowly, remember, slowly. Oh, keep an eye on your angle. Doing well. That's fine. Pretty good, because that's a finer file than we were using this morning. It won't clog up half as quickly. And you change your angle there, back again, there. All right. Slowly. So let me deepen it for you. Get that train track going. Now watch. Long strokes. Don't have to go quickly, just nice long strokes. And it acts like a little bit of a tramway in that it'll keep you on track. Right down to the bottom. There we are. Once you've done one, of course it gets easier because now you've got that lovely deep tramway. Now you can really move through it. Again. And there's all sorts of files or rasps that you can get to do this. Just grab a handful of those rasps beside us, Gabriel. We picked a fairly small one. This one we're using is 5mm, but we've got all sorts of here. So conventional rasps here, like the old rat tails. That's a fairly coarse one. We've got another Japanese rasp here. And then we've got chainsaw files, some of them are old, tiny little rasps. So there's loads that you can use. Right. So let's say we've gone as deep as we want to with that initial one.
Have we?
Well, let's say we have, but we may not have done. But what we have to do now is pick the halfway point. You see the two lines? You go in halfway between the two. You create another line. Okay. But this time, instead of going that way, we're going to just chase it back up to the start. Okay, because it's really difficult otherwise to know where to start. So chase it back up to the start, and then you're all good. Then you can start going forward again, and you've got a little marker this time. You're going to keep between those two lines that you've already cut. Okay, and then once you've done that, we can then go deeper again. Keep clearing
before I start,
thing.
Ben?
Yes, we've got a couple of questions. First one's from Michael. He's asking, could you use a dowel and sandpaper?
Yes. Yeah, no problem. In fact, once we've got to the depth, we'll then go through a series of files and then abrasive around those files to finish off to get us the finish we want.
And is there a powered method of cutting a spiral?
They're not really of this size. I mean, there are router lathes that you can go to, but generally that's for sort of staircase spindle size upwards. But this sort of size, no, this is pretty much hand done. And a lot of the barley twists and things that you see on chair legs and table legs, they would have been hand done, unless it's on modern furniture. And it's a slightly different technique. As soon as you get over about an inch of material, then it's a case of marking out first, cutting using a barley twist gouge if you want to do them by hand. So there are sorts of other ways. But no, not on this scale. It's a bit easier, this, isn't it? Because we've got something to follow.
It's a bit. Does get clogged up very easily, though.
Yeah. Well, it's wet timber. Dry timber won't clog up half as much as this, but wet timber does tend to. It's a sort of compromise, really, between what turns really nicely, the dust that we don't want to put in the air, and what files well. You can see that twist start to come out now, can't you?
It's really not nice. Super even, but it's all right.
That's not bad for your second one.
Should I go all the way down or stop?
Yeah, go all the way down and then just come back to the start of the second one. Make it a bit deeper. That'll do it. Up there, lovely. That's it. That's you got the action now between that chuck and your forward right arm. Perfect. All right, hand warming up.
Warm up a bit, yeah.
You just say if you want me to have a go.
Well, you take out a bit more chunk then.
A bit more. I think we get one pass and then a clean, and one pass and then a clean. Right, we'll do one more, and then we'll tell everybody how to
carry on.
Curve that top over. So the spiral that we've got here is a ribbon spiral. We could put one more up through the middle. We're not going to. So we want to soften the top edges now. So let's say we've done that. What we would then do is go through a series of files, ever decreasing or getting finer and finer as we go, and then our abrasive. But at the moment, if we look at that that spiral, we've got hard, crisp edges on top. If that's the look that you want, then that's absolutely fine. But what we would tend to do to soften those over is instead of running down the line, we now bring the file around. And by simply pushing forward, that takes those hard corners away. And that around the tops of your spirals right the way over. And then exactly the same thing. We would then go through a series of abrasive papers. And that will just soften everything. That's already looking really nice. Gabriel. One I haven't done yet. Do you want to just do that? Do it on this one here. Just run that down there. All right.
It's a toothbrush.
Yeah. Just a softer action, this one. That's it. Keep it moving. One thing to note there: if you do let the goblet stop and you still push forward with your file, you will create a facet. So keep every forward stroke of the file. Make sure that piece is moving as you do it. All right, Ben. How are we doing for questions? Are we good?
Jim's got another question. He's asking what Gabriel likes to, what projects he likes to turn, what he's going to turn next.
So it's just, I'll ask you the question because no one can hear Ben. Jim's asking what project you would like to turn next. What are you on at the moment? What's your favourite things?
Okay, so I was actually talking to them about turning something here, but I've just made up a bowl blank. Got 2 maple pieces either side of a really nice piece of tulip wood, doesn't it? And I'm thinking of making a lidded bowl with a sort of like a chopstick lock. It's quite hard to explain, but yeah, I saw the general gist.
I'm guessing that everybody could see the progress of that one on your Instagram page.
That will be there.
Yeah, so can you just sign up to his Instagram, follow him on that, and you'll see that one.
Bit of a shout out.
There's lots of you've done quite a few bowls, haven't you, in the past year? And we got an anniversary today.
In fact, we do. Today, 1 year ago, I turned my first bowl, and it was watching your video. I was watching your how to turn your first bowl video.
Isn't that great stuff? So that you've
Isn't
been
that
turning
weird?
a year.
A year today, yeah.
There we are.
Well,
So it's an old
anniversary.
pro now. Well done. Oh no, that's lovely to hear. Good stuff. Shall we pretend that we finished that?
Yeah, well, it is finished, of course,
It's
isn't it?
beautiful, isn't it? So then we would go through the process of sanding, again, wrapping abrasive around the file, and so on. So I think we're going to part off. Do you want to part off and I'll catch? Or do you want to catch and I'll part off?
I'll part off and you can catch.
Okay. I thought
Just
you'd
my
say
visor.
that. So visor, we'll take the tailstock away. We can't, just so everybody watching, we can't use the tailstock now. If we try and part off with the tailstock, it'll buckle and it'll fly. So what we're going to do is get rid of that one. Blade speed to 0. That's right. Shut that away a minute. And we're going to go small 1/8, so 3mm parting tool.
About there.
Yeah, perfect. And you're inside. So what we're going to do is just a little bit closer there, Gabriel. So, but we're inside the drawer of the chuck. Plenty of room there. Okay.
There we go.
All I would say, anybody, if you're doing this, is just be aware of where the jaws and the chuck is, and your fingers, the relation of your fingers to that jaw, and where your tool rest is. Exactly the same thing for rotation. Make sure nothing's going to touch the tool rest. Make sure everything's tight before you start. And we're starting at 0, and then we're going to slowly turn the lathe speed up to about 1,000 revs on this one. Don't be impatient now as you do this. So don't try and push too hard. Let the timber come to you. All right.
Oh, I'm just going to hope you're a good catch.
Oh, I've got it. It's fine. So nice and gently in.
Wait, before I do, Ben?
Go for it, Ben.
So a question from Frederick. He's just asking, with it being cherry, what are the chances of it splitting now that it's been turned?
Very, very unlikely because of how thin we've got it. So it will move. The stem won't split. This will be lucky to get this splitting, unless you're cutting from a limb. If the pith is still in there, then there is a huge likelihood that it will split. But we're not. We're beside it. So no, very unlikely. It'll move and distort rather than split. But you're going to take this one home. This is your practice piece, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we were making these, generally we would do it with dry timber anyway. And so it would all be nice and dry, wouldn't warp or anything like that. So this one we'll save.
We'll save
you're going
this
to take it home as a reference point.
Yeah, I'll make a few.
Yeah, exactly. All right, go for it. So 1,000 revs, nice and steady and gentle with your parting. And the way we're doing this, we're going down around about 5 to 6 mil at a time, and then taking a second cut beside first, just to allow plenty of room for the parting tool, because this is a deep parting tool cut. Now, think about this standing on the table as well, Gabriel. It's got to sit on the table, so we need a very slight undercut to it. So addition to the underside. And as you're cutting, certainly the cut beside the base, slightly tilt in the top, but very slightly, just so the top edge rubs as you cut. Watch your thumb, be careful where your thumb is.
Alright, we're getting there now.
Okay.
I even drop the tourist down just a tad. Actually, you know what? No point really. So.
No, just go straight through. Lift the handle. I've got him. There we are, and stop the lathe. Well done. There we are. That's not bad. That's our Gabriel's first spiral goblet. Lovely little shape. Are you happy with that one?
I'm pretty happy with it. Needs a bit more work on the spiral, but so we did pretty well.
Second spiral is not bad, is it?
It's not too bad.
Any questions, Ben?
No, I think we're good. There's lots of praise and lots of great to see Gabriel turning. Yeah.
Well, we've had a fantastic week here. I'm talking for myself, but I'm sure I'm talking for Ben as well. That it's been a real pleasure to have you here for the week and having a bit of fun, taking the mick out of each other. Actually, it's been quite refreshing.
We've kind of been bullying each other for a whole week.
Nice one, buddy. Thank you so much for doing this today. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for teaching me. Thank you for all of it.
Thank you guys for stopping by and watching us today as well. I hope that's helped with spiraling. Just keep watching us. You know what I say it every single week. If you like what I see, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share us around with all your friends, and take a look at Gabriel's Instagram as well. You won't be disappointed. There's some wonderful pieces on there.
We'll see.
Nice one. Well, until next time, everybody, thank you very much for stopping by and watching. Bye-bye.